The will that emanated from the vortex had no tangible destructive power, but it carried a force of suppression. Under this suppression, all living beings had to submit. Those who did not would have their bodies and minds shattered, their very Tao broken. However, this suppression failed to subdue Wang Lin. His noble Confucian aura, which illuminated the heavens, made him view all as mere ants, treating all beings equally. In this way, he directly resisted the will. In that instant, the heavenly reversal pearl in Wang Lin's mind suddenly spun, as if awakening, greedily absorbing the will. As the will touched Wang Lin, it quickly withdrew. When it retracted, the heavenly reversal stopped spinning. Along with the retraction of that will, a deep, ancient voice echoed faintly in Wang Lin's ears. All things are transformed by me, and our repayment to you. As the voice dissipated, an even more overwhelming surge of strange void gate power poured out, merging with the ancient god bracer. In an instant, the bracer's shattered fragments were fully restored. Wang Lin raised his right hand and reached into the storage crack. This time, what he took out was a broken large banner. This banner, besides the heavenly reversal pearl, was the most significant treasure Wang Lin had obtained in his life. This item was called the Billion Soul Banner. It was a gift from Duntian in his earlier years, part of which had been left with 13. What he held now was only this broken version. But at this moment, after absorbing the vast void gate power, the Billion Soul Banner erupted with a powerful aura. As the Billion Soul Banner was restored, the void gate power rapidly contracted, dispersing into the world. The void gate vortex dispersed, and Wang Lin, standing in the starry sky, now had his white hair flowing. His left eye contained flames, his right eye bore a lightning sigil, and above his brow, besides the ancient god star mark, there were 3 vertical scars. The 3 vertical scars represented karma, life and death, and truth and falsehood, respectively. As for the slaughter origin, it was merged into his soul. The third step. At this moment, Wang Lin had truly stepped into the mid-ethereal stage of the third step. He had become a great power of heaven and earth. With his eyes closed, Wang Lin silently observed his body. After a long while, when he opened his eyes again, he saw a strange pattern that had appeared in the palm of his right hand. This pattern was not unfamiliar to him. It was the 6th gate, the Myriad Void Bone Gate, which he had shattered earlier. The Myriad Void Bone Gate, like a totem, slowly condensed in Wang Lin's right palm before deeply imprinting itself there. Looking down, Wang Lin saw, not far off, the Vermilion Bird Star. Thousands of cultivators flew out, with Southern Cloud Master and Situ Nan at the front, preparing to meet Wang Lin. However, Southern Cloud Master appeared somewhat worried, occasionally glancing at the distant starry sky, where a faint, ominous rumbling sound reached him, causing suspicion to arise in his heart. At that moment, the ominous rumbling sound from the starry sky grew louder and more intense. Wang Lin raised his head and looked into the distant sky, his eyes filled with intense battle intent. He was ready to face the heavenly tribulation and see how this one compared to the previous ones. Situ, we will meet again later. The heavenly tribulation is upon me. Once I break it, we will drink together. It really is the heavenly tribulation. Southern Cloud Master's eyes narrowed. He stopped in the starry sky, sweeping his sleeve to halt the others behind him. Ceiling Venerable, pass through the tribulation. We will protect you from the outside. Southern Cloud Master's words echoed, reaching the ears of thousands of cultivators within the realm, causing them to stop and retreat. Situ Nen gazed at Wang Lin, his eyes filled with concern. Heavenly tribulation. I didn't face any when I broke the void gate back then, but Wang Lin. Situ Nen looked at Southern Cloud Master, who also appeared worried. The Ceiling Venerable's cultivation is rooted in the thought of defying the heavens, hence the title of reverse cultivation. When reverse cultivation succeeds, the heavens will send down a tribulation. This has been a long-standing legend. I've seen it happen a few times in my life. So, Ceiling Venerable, too, is a reverse cultivator. Southern Cloud Master's gaze was fixed at the distant end of the starry sky, where a mist was gathering. Amidst the rumbling, it surged like a tidal wave, rapidly advancing. The mist grew closer, covering the vast expanse, and in less than 10 breaths, the rumbling became a deafening roar, like 10,000 thunderclaps. Some cultivators in the realm were struck so violently that blood poured from their 7 orifices. Their faces were filled with terror as they hurriedly retreated. In the blink of an eye, the mist, rolling in from the distant starry sky, engulfed Wang Lin, completely surrounding him, and obscured his figure from the sight of the thousands of cultivators. As the endless mist enveloped him, an indescribable force from the heavens and earth surged, transforming into countless invisible hands that swept outward with the rolling mist. The thousands of cultivators, including Southern Cloud Master, Situ Nan, and others, were all forced back under the immense pressure. They retreated hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of miles. The roaring filled the heavens as the mist rolled and dispersed, even pushing the vermilion bird star, which seemed to have followed its ancient trajectory forever, off its course and drifting into the starry sky. From a distance, the scene was astonishing. As the mist spread, the starry sky within a 1,000,000-mile radius became enveloped by the fog. In this mist, aside from Wang Lin, there were no other cultivators, nor was there any cultivation star. For this 1,000,000-strong mist, it was only Wang Lin alone. Gazing at this unbelievable cosmic scene, the cultivators within the realm appeared increasingly anxious, particularly Situ Nan, who fixed his gaze on the distant mist with a somber expression. He wanted to help, but the repelling force contained within the heavenly tribulation made it clear to him that this time, the heavenly tribulation manifesting in the world could not be approached without a tribulation welcomer. Everything rested solely on Wang Lin's shoulders. The Sealing Venerable, being a reverse cultivator, if he passes this heavenly tribulation, his cultivation will solidify. With the body of a great power of heaven and earth, he will surely question our status among cultivators. Southern Cloud Master murmured, almost to himself, but also directed at Situ and the others. A heavy silence fell over the group. Further away, in another direction shrouded by the 1,000,000-strong mist, a figure emerged from the starry sky. Dressed in a purple robe, this elder wore a grave expression as he gazed at the roiling mist, a strange glimmer flickering in his eyes. What potent arrow energy! He actually found that arrow. When I first encountered him, he hadn't even reached the 3rd step, yet somehow he possesses the 6 origins. 6 origins. Just one origin allows one to become a great power. After unifying 6 paths, this youth's cultivation exceeded void nirvana, directly reaching mid-ethereal stage. With his cultivation, plus that arrow, the elder was none other than War Ghost. He pondered for a moment, his gaze toward the mist bearing an indescribable strangeness. Myriad Voidbone Gate. War Ghost lowered his head and glanced at his right hand. In the palm of that hand, amidst the blur, a totem emerged, resembling a gate similar to Wang Lin's palm. Could he be the 3rd one? War Ghost frowned. Within the ancient star of antiquity, in a realm of pitch black, there floated a massive palace that blended seamlessly into the darkness. Inside the palace, several candlesticks burned flickering candle flames, their dim light failing to illuminate the grand hall, but allowing glimpses of some details. At the center of the hall stood a well. Next to it, by the candlestick, stood a figure cloaked in black, a familiar figure to Wang Lin. It was the Palm Sovereign. With his head bowed, he stared into the well, his expression unreadable. After a long silence, he raised his bony right hand and gently pinched the flame of the nearby candlestick. Instantly, the flame extinguished, transforming into a wisp of green smoke that veiled the black-robed man in darkness. Why is he so difficult to kill? The first time Blue Dream intervened. The second time was meant to be a life and death trap, but in the end, the Master actually appeared. The Master has gone mad. In his state, he's trying to save Wang Lin. A hoarse voice whispered from the darkness, distorting gradually, as if the Palm Sovereign was struggling to contain his panic. That Li Guang bow and arrow must allow Wang Lin to truly wield it without rejection, thanks to the Master's bloodline. The Master is alive. Although he's gone mad now, once his memory returns, he will surely punish me. But at that time, he was gravely wounded and devoured by the heavenly Tao. What could I do? What could I do? All I could do was submit to the 7 colors. The figure cloaked in black trembled as he suddenly raised his head, growling softly within the empty hall. Inside the Zeohe star domain, which had been completely taken over by Outer Realm cultivators, there existed a shattered star ruin in the southern section, littered with countless fragments of various sizes. Among them was a stone approximately 10 meters in size. This stone was hollow. Inside, seated in a lotus position, was an elderly man dressed in white. He had flowing white hair and an ethereal presence, with a blood in the middle of his brow that seemed to merge completely with him, creating a shocking sight. As he slowly opened his eyes, he raised his right hand before him, making a few calculations. His eyes sparkled with strange light. Wang Lin, you finally reached the third step. After tens of thousands of years of planning, my great scheme is about to commence. I have waited long for this day. Disciple, you must not let your master down. The white-clad elder smiled gently, his demeanor exceedingly calm, as if it had always been this way since ancient times. He was none other than Tian Yunzi, who had been missing for many years. In the Kungsu star domain, shrouded in 1,000,000 miles of mist where only the tribulation welcomer existed, at its very center stood Wang Lin, garbed in white, his eyes calm as he clasped his hands behind his back, gazing up at the heavens. Above him, the mist swirled violently, and within the mist, countless silver serpents scattered, forming a vortex. The vortex was endless, like a gaping maw. I have one question. What gives the heavens the right to bring tribulation upon me? Today, I shall be the one to welcome this tribulation, but I will also bring tribulation to the heavens. Wang Lin raised his right hand and swept it violently towards the sky. Thunder tribulation, by my name, Wang Lin, arise. He had no way of knowing whether anyone would do the same in the countless years to come, and he didn't know anything else. All he knew was this. This time, he was going to fight against the heavenly tribulation to the very end, to suppress it, and transform himself into the Tao of heaven, not to punish the beings of this world, but to punish the tribulation itself. This scene was a battle between tribulations, something that had never occurred in the realms since ancient times. As Wang Lin uttered those two words, thunder tribulation, the mist that enveloped 100,000 miles of the starry sky began to swirl even more violently. With each rotation, endless thunderbolts began to converge from all directions towards the center of the vortex. Blue light shot out, and at the center of that light, the first tribulation, thunder tribulation, of Wang Lin's third step manifested. The blue light pierced through the mist for 100,000 miles, and from the outside, the mist appeared to be tinted blue. It looked magnificent, but it also gave a chilling, awe-inspiring feeling. But to Wang Lin's eyes, the thunderbolt that condensed within the blue light was 1,000 feet wide. It came from deep within the vortex, carrying a strange, unfamiliar aura. It didn't belong to this world. It descended from an unknown place, bursting out of the vortex with a deafening roar, charging towards Wang Lin like a blue dragon, struggling and roaring, ready to devour him. It wanted to swallow Wang Lin, to destroy and obliterate him, to stop the existence of any third-step great power in this world. Wang Lin remained calm, raising his head to coldly look at the swirling mist above. His eyes flashed as he gazed at the blue thunderbolts surrounding him. Today, Wang Lin shall bring tribulation to the thunder tribulation. The first tribulation is named Mywell Thunder Tribulation. As these words left his mouth, the thunder and lightning that enveloped Wang Lin's body erupted violently, spreading out wildly in all directions. In an instant, the thunder coalesced into a gigantic lightning sigil above him, as large as 1,000 feet. This lightning sigil was completely different from the blue thunder of the tribulation. It was red, a crimson red, like blood. As soon as this blood-red lightning appeared, it radiated an endless red glow, becoming Wang Lin's own thunder tribulation. The moment the red thunder emerged, the world changed color, the mist rolled back, and the entire Kungsu star domain shook violently. Wang Lin raised his right hand, pointing towards the blue heavenly thunder roaring down from the sky. The crimson thunder immediately flashed and transformed into another bolt of heavenly lightning, charging upwards towards the sky. This scene was nothing short of astonishing. From a distance, one could clearly see two bolts of heavenly lightning, one blue, one red, coming from opposite directions, closing in at a terrifying speed with a deafening roar. It was nearly impossible to tell which thunderbolt was the true heavenly tribulation. There was even a sense of confusion, as though both bolts were the tribulation. It was unclear whether the tribulation was punishing Wang Lin, or if Wang Lin was punishing the tribulation itself. Within the mist, in an instant, the two bolts of heavenly thunder collided. A deafening explosion rang out as the blue and red thunderbolts collided with fierce intensity. Like two meteors, they consumed and negated each other, and the blue thunderbolt quickly shrank to a few thousand feet in size, unable to advance any further under the pressure of Wang Lin's crimson thunder, which slowly began to swallow it. But just then, the vortex in the sky suddenly reversed direction, twisting violently. Another deafening roar sounded as another blue heavenly thunderbolt appeared, merging with the first and charging straight at Wang Lin's crimson thunder. Not just one, but the third, fourth, fifth, all the way to the ninth blue thunderbolt, almost simultaneously fell. Together, they merged and surged out like an endless ocean of lightning, pouring from the vortex, intending to annihilate the world. Under the sudden onslaught of these increasing blue heavenly thunderbolts, Wang Lin's crimson thunder tribulation rapidly began to dissipate. A wave of energy containing the power of thunder surged in all directions, whipping up mist and sweeping the surroundings. The people outside the mist, including Situ, looked on in astonishment as they felt the roaring sound and witnessed the scene. However, this sight failed to stir any emotion in the war ghost in the opposite direction. His expression remained calm, as though he had seen everything, and he slightly shook his head. It shouldn't be the third one. If it were, it wouldn't be so weak. Well, I've been searching for the third one for countless millennia. It can't be that easy. With a light sigh, the war ghost withdrew his gaze from the mist, his expression dimming slightly, as if he had lost all interest. He turned to leave. But just as he turned to walk away, he suddenly made a sound of surprise and swiftly turned around. His eyes, filled with disappointment, now shone with an intense light. In the depths of the mist, Wang Lin's white hair was swirling without wind. As the crimson thunder tribulation dissipated, the immense, destructive, and unfamiliar aura spread out, crashing downward. In that instant, Wang Lin stepped forward, and his figure vanished. When he reappeared, he was suspended high in the sky beneath the descending cyan thunder. He raised his right hand and lightly pressed toward the boundless cyan thunder above. Thunder from an unknown origin. I, Wang Lin, comprehend the origin of thunder and am the master of all the thunders of heaven and earth. You will either submit to me or be shattered before me. Time seemed to stand still at that moment, and the scene became eternal. In that image, Wang Lin's white hair fluttered, and his hand made contact with the 9 cyan thunders, halting their descent. Before the cyan thunder, Wang Lin's figure was incredibly small, yet the moment his hand touched the thunder, it was as though he had grasped the very soul of the lightning. With a calm expression, Wang Lin closed his eyes, feeling the defiance and roar of the cyan thunder behind his palm. He could sense its rebellious struggle and the fearful thoughts emanating from the thunder. Now I understand. Then you shall be destroyed. Wang Lin opened his eyes, and as he spoke softly, his right hand swept through the air towards the cyan thunder. With a wave, the cyan thunder trembled, and without a sound, it suddenly collapsed before Wang Lin, turning into countless cyan crystals that spread out like a swarm of glowing fireflies, gradually fading away. Wang Lin stood amidst the dissipating cyan light, his figure appearing slightly blurred. He looked up at the distant vortex above and raised his right hand. With my will, bring forth the thunder tribulation and punish heaven and earth. Suddenly, to Wang Lin's left, a red thunder tribulation appeared out of thin air, rumbling as it shot towards the vortex above. At the same time, a second, third, countless bolts of thunder erupted from all directions, centered around Wang Lin, and roared into the sky. In the blink of an eye, the area where Wang Lin stood seemed to have become a thunder domain. The thunder, from dozens to hundreds, and finally to thousands, rumbled and roared. 10,000 crimson thunders, punishing heaven's tribulation. As tens of thousands of crimson thunders surged, they tore through space and shot, toward the distant vortex above. In an instant, these bolts of lightning neared and crashed into the vortex. The earth-shaking sound echoed rapidly, and with every strike of Wang Lin's thunder tribulation, the vortex above grew thinner, almost on the verge of collapse. In the end, with a deafening roar, the rotating vortex suddenly shattered and dissipated before Wang Lin's eyes. But at that moment, in the place where the vortex had vanished, a massive crack appeared, stretching for tens of thousands of feet. A deep roar echoed from within. Slowly, a massive, altar-like four-cornered building emerged from the crack. As it appeared, the muffled roar grew louder. In the blink of an eye, the four-cornered altar building had emerged halfway, revealing two corners. In the center of the altar, a vague figure could be seen sitting cross-legged, with four swords sticking out around it. With my will, bring forth the fire tribulation, burn heaven and destroy the earth. The flame totem in Wang Lin's left eye suddenly flashed, and roaring flames spread out, surrounding Wang Lin and forming a burning fireball. With a flick of his left hand toward the sky, the flames surrounding him expanded rapidly. 100 feet, 1,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, 10,000 miles. The speed of expansion was completed with a single thought from Wang Lin. Standing within the flames, a vast sea of fire spanned tens of thousands of miles around him. With a gesture of his hand, the fire surged upward, heading toward the sky with an overwhelming force, as if to burn the heavens themselves. In the blink of an eye, even the mist surrounding them seemed to catch fire, illuminated by the flames. The massive rift in the sky above was completely devoured by fire. Unlike the roar of thunder, the sound of the flames burning, under the crackling noise, merged into a continuous roar, with waves of heat surging and sweeping in all directions. Wang Lin's eyes flashed with cold light as he flicked his sleeve and stepped forward. In an instant, he appeared within the fiery sea above, close to the rift. He extended his hand toward the altar, half emerged from the rift, and with a single motion, his right hand reached out to strike at the blurry figure sitting cross-legged atop the altar. As his hand struck, he clenched his fist, as if grasping something. Karma seal. Immediately, large cracks appeared on the two corners of the altar. In an instant, they collapsed, turning into countless fragments that exploded, sending ripples outwards. The flames consumed them, turning them into a cloud of black smoke. If only the corners had collapsed, it wouldn't have been so astonishing. But under Wang Lin's void karma seal, not only did the two corners collapse, but even the four swords surrounding the blurry figure at the altar's center began to tremble violently, emitting a sound like wailing. Four ethereal, smoke-like auras seemed to be pulled from these swords by Wang Lin's palm. Invisible to the naked eye, but felt by divine sense, the four auras forcefully detached from the swords, heading straight for Wang Lin's right hand. As his right hand fully grasped them, they were contained within his palm. As these auras dissipated, the four swords, which Wang Lin had once feared, instantly lost all their shine, becoming as mundane as ordinary iron, devoid of any spiritual energy. But this was not the end. The karma seal was in his hand, controlling the very essence of everything. This divine power was incredibly domineering, and even beings like the third-step great power, the green-clad man, were horrified and lost all color before Wang Lin's karma seal. The altar, shaking violently, seemed to expel an aura from within. It trembled even more, and cracks spread across the altar like a spider's web. Though this all seemed to take time, it happened in the blink of an eye. Wang Lin clenched his right hand, and his eyes flashed with cold light. Shatter! With those two words, a deafening roar erupted from the altar. As the roar echoed, half of the altar, which had not yet emerged from the rift, suddenly collapsed. Countless fragments whirled, as if forming a spinning storm. But before the storm could take shape, it was instantly swallowed by the surrounding sea of fire. A low growl came from within the collapsing altar, and the blurry figure sitting cross-legged suddenly raised its head, stepping forward. It emerged from the shattered altar, flashing through the fire sea and heading straight for Wang Lin. The figure remained blurry, even after emerging from the fire sea. Its appearance was still unclear, but it raised its right hand, murmuring as if preparing a divine power. In an instant, a yellow light radiated from its right hand. As it neared Wang Lin, it struck out. Life! Wang Lin snorted coldly. Without dodging or evading, he swung his sleeve, and his left hand, surrounded by swirling white energy, filled with vitality, extended. It collided with the incoming figure's hand. Their palms met midair, causing an earth-shattering boom. The figure staggered back several steps. Normally, vitality alone wouldn't cause much harm. However, Wang Lin understood the essence of life and death. His palm, infused with vitality, was a part of the life and death seal. The first palm, life, was meant to inscribe a mark that would transform into death. With such cultivation, you dare to strike at me. Wang Lin's body flickered, and he instantly appeared in front of the retreating figure. His right hand rose, and black mist spread out. As he neared the figure, his palm pressed firmly against its chest. Death! The moment his palm made contact, the black mist surged along Wang Lin's arm, entering the figure's body. It triggered the vitality previously embedded in the figure, and within its body, the forces of life and death collided, forming the life and death seal. Upon the formation of the life and death seal, a violent roar erupted from the blurry figure's body. Its form shook violently, spitting out several breaths of golden energy. The figure was violently thrown backward, and even the mist surrounding it dispersed slightly, revealing its eyes filled with horror and disbelief. With a sudden explosion, the figure's body collapsed, disturbed by the life and death seal within. The once formidable heavenly tribulation envoy, who had caused Wang Lin so much trouble, was now utterly powerless before him. Heavenly tribulation, what qualification do you have to bring calamity upon me? Wang Lin's words were calm, but they reverberated in all directions, reaching the ears of Southern Cloud Master Situ Nan and the thousands of cultivators present. Just this one sentence was enough to stir the blood of these cultivators. It was an incredibly arrogant statement, but at this moment, no one dared question it. For over 1,000 years, Wang Lin had endured. From the moment the first heavenly tribulation descended upon the demon spirit land, he had been bearing it. Today, he had the right to ask, so with a single finger pointed at the sky, he questioned, "Who gave you the right to punish me, Wang Lin? Who gave you the right to walk over Li Muan? Who gave you the right to punish all beings? Who gave you the right to be heaven itself?" The stars rumbled, and the mist, like a furious storm, began to churn violently. From the rift, deep growls echoed, shaking the very soul. As the sound intensified, the mist began to spin rapidly, letting out a deafening roar. As it spun, a wave of heavenly pressure spread, engulfing everything in its path. Within the rotating mist, countless blurry figures began to materialize. These figures, resembling spirits, let out piercing shrieks after their appearance. In an instant, among the mist surrounding Wang Lin, ghostly images appeared everywhere. At first, they were hazy, but they soon became clearer, transforming into familiar faces. Among these faces were his parents, his fourth uncle, Wang Zhua, Zhang Hu, Lu Mei, and Li Muan. There were also Teng Li, Teng Huayuan, and all those Wang Lin had encountered in his life, whether enemies, friends, or family, appearing from all sides of the mist, rushing towards Wang Lin. As they drew near, their cries, some of pain, others of gentle calls, echoed in the mist, invading Wang Lin's heart and mind. Wang Lin remained silent, watching as the figures drew ever closer. He saw his elderly parents, supporting each other, trembling with every step they took. He saw the tears and excitement in their eyes, and the withered hands reaching out as if they longed to touch his face. He saw Li Muan, her eyes misted with tears, yet a warm smile graced her face as she wiped them away and walked quietly toward Wang Lin. He saw Lu Mei, and in her arms, a baby surrounded by black mist, its cries shrill and piercing, shaking the very soul. He saw so much more, everything. This scene was so vivid, it was as though it was real. It was a manifestation of the heavenly tribulation, nearly indistinguishable from reality. Its forms seemed to be born from the heart, giving the illusion that they could shift between truth and falsehood at any moment. Even when one believed it to be false, in the moment of destruction, one might realize that everything was real, that what was destroyed was the last soul of his loved ones left in this world. Wang Lin remained silent. Around him, more and more figures walked toward him with each call. From a distance, they were already surrounding him, growing ever closer. Wang Lin sighed deeply and looked at the familiar faces around him, then closed his eyes. He understood the origin of truth and falsehood. To him, it was a moment of profound reflection. With his eyes closed, everything seemed false. But in the instant he opened his eyes again, everything became real once more. With a sigh, Wang Lin closed his eyes again. His right hand raised, sweeping forward, as though dispelling the gate of void. In that motion, the figures, whether real or fake, returned to dust, returning to the place from which they came. Heaven and earth are heartless, and so they bring this tribulation upon me. Since this is the case, I, Wang Lin, shall do the same. Sky, open your eyes and see. How many others have raised their hands to the heavens to shout, except for me, Wang Lin? Wang Lin opened his eyes, raised his right hand, and pointed to the sky, letting out a mighty roar. With his roar, the divine abilities manifested from the origin of truth and falsehood surged. Around him, in the mist, at the moment of Wang Lin's furious roar, countless illusory figures appeared. These figures were transformed by his path of truth and falsehood. Some were true, others false. In those figures, some were shouting angrily at the sky while holding a female corpse, like Zhou Yi. Some were laughing madly while pointing at the sky, like Bai Fan. Some, having awakened and recalled their memories, silently gazed at the sky, like Qing Shui. Some, full of arrogance, cursed the sky, like Tua Sen. There were many, many others. There were also figures from the Lightning Thunder clan, from the 7 million realms, countless citizens and cultivators who died under the tribulations. Among them was the Spirit Dispersion Sage, whose mind had shattered after seeing what he believed was the end of the heavens, wailing in anguish with madness burning in his eyes. Countless figures appeared, transforming within Wang Lin's path of truth and falsehood. Their roars formed a special heavenly tribulation, a tribulation of the true and false. As the heavens sent down a tribulation of illusion upon Wang Lin, he responded with his own, formed from his path of truth and falsehood. With each furious shout, an invisible force surged into the rift above, yet the rift showed no response. The roars within it continued without pause. Is that not enough? Wang Lin's eyes shut, and his divine sense suddenly exploded, spreading in all directions. In the blink of an eye, it engulfed the entire Kungsu star domain. Under the spread of his divine sense, it seeped into the cultivation stars, merging with the souls of the stars and their memories. Since ancient times, all who lived in this Kungsu star domain, whether mortal or immortal, when facing death, a twist of fate, or despair, when they looked up and stared at the sky, the resentment they might have shouted or held inside, even though no one saw it or those who did are long dead, was silently remembered by the planets they lived on, which had souls of their own. At this moment, Wang Lin's divine sense reached them, forming a tribulation aimed at the heavens through the illusions of truth and falsehood, which erupted with a mighty force. The rift symbolizing the heavenly tribulation trembled for the first time, its roars suddenly halting. Meanwhile, in another direction outside the mist, the war ghost's eyes shone with an unprecedented brightness, and the greed in his gaze was utterly unabashed. He has a 30% chance of being the third one. The war ghost licked his lips. I'm going to roast to death. A colossal sound echoed throughout the entire Kungsu star domain. The massive rift trembled violently under the weight of Wang Lin's tribulation. His white hair fluttered as his cold eyes fixed on the rift. His expression remained unchanged, and with a flick of his sleeve, he began to walk toward it. His steps weren't fast, but each one resonated with a booming sound that shook the heavens, intensifying the rift's tremor with every step. In stark contrast to the rift's shaking, Wang Lin moved with complete composure. Wang Lin wasn't afraid of the heavenly tribulation. He possessed the heart of a great scholar, a vast aura that saw all things in the universe as equal. Even the tribulation couldn't transcend this. All things have their origin. Today, Wang will witness the reason this tribulation arises, the cause behind its appearance in this world. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed as he took a step closer, the sound of thunderous booms growing louder. Just as he was within 10,000 feet of the rift, bright beams of light suddenly erupted from within, spreading outward and illuminating the surrounding starry mist. In that light, something slowly drifted out from the rift, an ordinary horsetail whisk, 7 feet long, with a purple wooden handle and unmarked white hair for whisk threads, the 3,000 strands seemingly symbolizing the 3,000 great paths. The whisk slowly floated out of the rift, flicked lightly toward Wang Lin, and the 3,000 whisk threads moved on their own, scattering without wind. An invisible force radiated in ripples from the whisk. As the ripples spread, Wang Lin's footsteps faltered for a moment. His eyes sharpened, and without hesitation, his right foot came down heavily, propelling him forward like a shooting star toward the drifting whisk. The ripples continued to spread through the surrounding mist, and just as Wang Lin was about to reach it, one of the 3,000 white whisk threads suddenly detached from the base, dispersing like smoke and turning into a spell. Gravitational art. At the same time, the second white whisk thread detached and danced out, transforming into the fireball art. The third white whisk thread followed suit, transforming into a murderous aura, becoming an endless stream of sword energy from the slaughter sword technique. The fourth, fifth, and sixth threads. In an instant, hundreds of white whisk threads drifted apart, turning into countless divine abilities Wang Lin had seen during his first step, like the Annihilation Finger, Netherworld Finger, and Demon Transformation Finger. Among these abilities, some were those he had mastered, and others he had witnessed others perform. After hundreds of white whisk threads, the whisk's 3,000 threads continued to separate from their base, transforming into an array of divine abilities, including those from Qing Shui, Situnan, Bai Fan's control of wind and rain, and earth-shaking power. All of this took place in an instant. In front of Wang Lin, outside the rift, the 3,000 white whisk threads merged into the countless divine abilities Wang Lin had encountered in his life. These divine abilities seamlessly merged together, and with a flick of the whisk, they enveloped the entire starry sky around Wang Lin, crashing toward him. Perhaps 1, 2, or even 100 divine abilities wouldn't matter. Even with 3,000, they would be insignificant to Wang Lin. But these 3,000 abilities were transformed by the heavenly tribulation whisk. Each one carried an aura Wang Lin was familiar with, an aura unmistakably filled with immortal power. Thus, its power is enough to shake the heavens and the earth. This celestial aura was not the immortal jade energy found in the 4 great immortal realms, but the true aura of an immortal, the golden light emanating from the bloodline. If it weren't for encountering a madman, and if Wang Lin's forehead did not possess the golden blood transformed by the immortal indestructible body, he certainly would not have been able to recognize the force of the 3,000 divine abilities being exerted. But at this moment, he instantly sensed it. His pupils contracted, and as he gazed at the 3,000 divine abilities sweeping towards him, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. I had suspected it before. This heavenly tribulation comes from the ancient immortal domain. The world behind that rift is the ancient immortal domain. Now, feeling this pure celestial aura, it's clear that the ancient immortal domain is closely linked with the immortal firmament continent. A faint golden light flickered from within the 3,000 divine abilities, rushing directly towards Wang Lin. These divine abilities roared, closing in on Wang Lin in an instant, one by one descending around him. The thunderous roars shook the heavens, causing the starry sky to tremble. Under the relentless barrage, Wang Lin's figure was completely enveloped by the golden light, and from a distance, he could no longer be seen. At the same time, something flew out from the rift. It was a 9-story golden pagoda, exuding a supreme oppressive aura. As it emerged from the rift, it expanded on its own, quickly becoming tens of thousands of feet tall, heading towards the spot where Wang Lin's figure was obscured by golden light, suppressing it with a thunderous roar. The 3,000 whisk strands were the heavenly tribulation. The pagoda was a stabilizing force, another part of the heavenly tribulation. This third step of the heavenly tribulation targeting Wang Lin was unprecedented in its strength and shockingly powerful. Had Wang Lin's cultivation only been at the early void nirvana stage, he would undoubtedly perish. Even if his cultivation had reached the perfect void nirvana stage, he would still collapse and die under this heavenly tribulation. Even now, in the mid-ethereal stage, if he were like an ordinary great power with a single source of power, he would have no chance of survival under this heavenly tribulation. The 9-story golden pagoda rumbled as it directly enveloped the area being struck by the 3,000 great paths. With a deafening crash, everything fell silent. Within the mist that spanned a 1,000,000-mile radius, only the 9-story golden pagoda remained, as though it had existed since the beginning of time. Outside the mist, Southern Cloud Master and the others immediately felt a jolt in their hearts at this sudden silence. Southern Cloud Master stared at the mist, his eyes filled with anxiety. Situ Nin fell silent, vaguely sensing something was wrong. Without a word, he moved to rush into the mist, but his body was immediately stopped by Southern Cloud Master's right hand waving to block his path. Southern Cloud Master, are you going to stop me? Situ Nin suddenly turned around, his eyes full of madness, staring at Southern Cloud Master, his words carrying overwhelming killing intent. He knew he wasn't a match for Southern Cloud Master, but at this moment, sensing the imminent danger to Wang Lin, Situ Nan's personality was such that even if his master Qing Lin were present, he wouldn't hesitate to act. Southern Cloud Master did not mind Situ Nan's words. He remained silent for a moment before speaking in a deep voice. The Sealing Venerable is undergoing his heavenly tribulation. We must not interfere. If you rush in, not only will it be useless, but it will also distract him. Situ Nan's gaze remained fixed on the mist, his fists clenched. After a brief silence, his voice became hoarse as he slowly spoke. I will wait for half an incense stick of time. If it remains as silent as this after half an incense stick, I will force my way in. Southern Cloud Master sighed quietly, remaining silent, his eyes growing even more anxious as he stared at the mist. In another direction, the war ghost's expression became more excited, his eyes flashing with light. He licked his lips, muttering to himself. The 3-9 whisk strands, the immortal sealing pagoda. There should also be an item called the Fate Sealing Ring. When he set up the heavenly tribulation in his mansion back then, he threw these 3 treasures into it. The war ghost's words were cryptic, and his gaze on the mist grew even more eerie. Time passed slowly, and half an incense stick felt like years to Situ Nan. The thousands of cultivators within the realms were all growing tense, with a sense of foreboding creeping into their hearts. Could it be that the Sealing Venerable has failed the heavenly tribulation? Impossible. The Sealing Venerable would never fail. It's been silent for so long. What is happening inside? Panic spread among the thousands of cultivators, and as Situ Nan became increasingly uncontrollable, trying to rush into the mist, a deafening, earth-shattering roar suddenly erupted from within the now silent mist. Deep within the 1,000,000-mile fog, the only presence, the golden pagoda, trembled violently. The sound of the roar came from within, reverberating through the air. Inside the pagoda, amidst chaos, Wang Lin was entangled by 3,000 white whisk strands. These 3,000 whisk strands were the 3,000 divine abilities, and as they landed on Wang Lin, they returned to their origins, reforming into whisk strands that tightly coiled around Wang Lin, almost like a seal. Within the pagoda, golden light surged, enveloping the space. This light radiated an overwhelming will, seeking to refine Wang Lin with its brilliance, to melt him with this immortal power. However, the heavenly tribulation was unaware that within Wang Lin's forehead lay the most pure immortal bloodline in all of this world. So this is what the heavenly tribulation has to offer. Is this all the divine powers it has? If this is truly the case, then this heavenly tribulation is far too weak. As the 3,000 white whisk threads wrapped around him, Wang Lin shook his head. His body suddenly expanded outward with tremendous force. The ancient god star mark on his forehead rapidly spun, and waves of ancient god power circulated throughout his body, causing him to explosively grow larger. 10 zhong, 30 zhong, 100 zhong, until his body stretched to several hundred zhong in size, resembling a giant. The white threads that had been coiled around him became taut, some even shattering into pieces. In the moment Wang Lin's body transformed into that of an ancient god, the ancient god aura erupted from within him. All the white threads shattered in an instant. Too weak to withstand a blow, Wang Lin shook his head again, taking a step upward. He clenched his right fist, and with a surge of ancient god power like a roaring wave, he punched toward the top of the pagoda.